What's going on, guys? Today I'm gonna break down True Vanguards, exposing the secrets of talented snipers in Destiny 2. I think he missed a lot of information in this video that I believe I have some insight on. I'm gonna let the first like two snipes play. He's gonna stay a little bit, and I'm gonna tell you guys my thoughts behind it.
Alrighty, so that was the whole uninterrupted clip. It started out with this nice super shutdown, and I tag him with a headshot. I know I just need to clean it up with a few primary shots. Now, here's the thing: I could take a shot, just a Hail Mary, but I decide I'd rather take a shot I do have than one I don't. I know this is gonna miss. There's no point in me even pulling the trigger, so I'm just gonna go for the big Hail Mary play. Stand my ground. Wait until the shot is lined up. There's no sense in pulling the trigger if you know it's gonna miss.
Alright, so I don't like the phrase that he used there. Don't take a shot you know you're gonna miss, because there's no truly possible way you'll know if you're gonna miss. Everyone's human, no one's perfect, right? I think a better way of explaining this would be so what he did here was because he knew he had some time to take the shot, right? So has to cast his super, and then also because it's a Nova Warp, he has to charge up his one shot. And because he knows he has time, he has time to line up the shot. A good example is if you give a basketball player more time to line up his shot, he has a higher chance of making the basket, right? Again, I think he fails to kind of explain that here. So yeah, let's keep going.
And so as soon as I come out of that super shutdown, bam, I hear a Bygones on the left. I see my teammate is getting tagged by it. So I'm going to reload and slide into the lane, find him, and take the shot.
It's pretty simplistic of what he was explaining here. I think it's a lot more kind of complicated than that. He does kind of know that the guy that he just sniped, Scott 123 man, is really out of position, and it allows him, because he has teammates behind him, it allows him to kind of take more of an aggressive shot. If you could tell, he didn't take a lot of time to line that up, but because he was very safe with his team, he can just take a risky shot like that and still have a high chance of winning that engagement. Even if he missed, the worst case scenario, he's switching right to his primary and trying to get that team shot, right?
So it's important. I wanted to get underneath those bullets, and then
Yeah, so again, I think True Vanguard is a really good player. I think this just adds to the advantage in the engagement. He could have just slid in with his primary, but it's not too competitive. There are actually some advantages of trying to hit snipes like this, more risky snipes. You know, you can destroy like the enemy's morale if you're just hitting nasty schnappers.
take the shot. And then coming out of that snipe, I see on my radar this guy to the right. So as soon as I get up here, I'm going to look to the right. Now this is important. Since I jumped up here, what actually happens is the reticle does this little bounce mechanic, which in my opinion, I'm going to be honest, I think is a terrible mechanic. I don't think it belongs in the game. When you fall from 15 feet, sometimes you do this huge screen shake. It's terrible, and it really messes up your shot. And I think that it's a dumb mechanic. I wish it wasn't in the game. But you'll notice I don't take the shot. I just sit there and I wait for that reticle to come back up. That way I know I'm going to have...
Yeah, so again, I think he kind of fails to explain. So he saw on his radar, yeah, someone was on his right, but he also saw that no one was on his left or in front of him that could flank him. Someone does right after he gets the kill, but that allows him to take this off angle and line up this shot. He knew he had enough time to take a high percent sniper shot, right? But yeah, let's just keep going.
Better accuracy when I do pull the trigger. So wait for the barrel to come back up, then I take the shot. As soon
Yeah, I mean, you will have a higher percent of accuracy, right? But it just I feel like it kind of skips over the whole fact of, I feel like he's talking more about because the gun is in this effect of, hitting the ground, you'll have less accuracy. But it's more of the longer you have to take the shot, the more accurate you'll be. And because he knew there was no one on his left or in front of him at the time, he could take the time to be more accurate.
as I take that shot, I know I'm getting tagged from my left with a recluse. What I do is I slide through this cover, and I use that as an opportunity to switch back to my sniper rifle. So I break line of sight, and while I'm sliding through cover, that's when I swap weapons. I come out the other side with my sniper rifle ready to go. It's got quick draw on it, and I also have enhanced sniper rifle targeting, so I can scope in pretty quickly with this build, and obviously I have snapshot as well. And I take that body shot to clean the guy up. I come out of that, and I still have the sniper rifle up and at the ready. And at this point, I'm feeling pretty confident. I'm feeling pretty gutsy. I know that if I keep this streak alive...
Yeah, so again, like I said, I think True Vanguard's a really good player. I don't know if that's what I would have done to switch to my sniper in that kind of close range scenario. I probably would have just thrown a grenade. If you don't know, if you throw a firebolt and melee, it will pretty much instant kill someone. But you know, he hits the shot. He might have known that his teammates were behind him, getting the team fire. And then what he's talking about here is he has a morale boost. He's popped off. He killed 2 supers. Got a nice snipe. He's popping off. He wants to get the clip. And this guy is like, what are you doing? The enemy is probably scared, right? And it's okay to do this, to kind of feed. But if you believe in your heart that you're gonna get in someone's mind and they can and realize that you have that kind of mentality, it can really fuck with people. You can really get in people's heads just doing kind of weird shit. So yeah, I agree with him on this.
Live, it's gonna be a clip. I decided I'm gonna go for this no scope.
So I don't really like this decision to get out of the
Yeah,
the
I'm waiting.
box cover right here and go into this kind of left side cover. There's also a right side. I would rather just kind of stay right here, especially against better players, right? If you go onto, let's say, this side and there's people holding the angle, if you try to re-peek it, there's only one angle you can re-peek it from. Yes, you can, slide in, you can crouch peek, you can stand peek, you can jump peek, right? Normally you don't really jump peek. Same with the left side. You only have really 4 different ways to peek. But with this box cover right here, you can peek it 8 different ways. You can do the same thing on both sides, right? I would have just stayed right here. But I mean, he's only playing control. He's trying to be aggressive. I think this is fine. I thought I would just add this kind of information.
This is a 29 kill streak start to finish in a pretty short amount of time. I landed some pretty nice snipes along the way. So I figured I would toss this in here as well and break down a couple of key moments that led
That's funny. He said toss this in right as he tosses a fucking handheld super.
to me having
Nothing important.
such a nice streak on such a chaotic map. Now, at this point, you can see I'm hard scoping this because I know there's someone coming around the corner. I take the shot, but even though it's a headshot, you'll notice that I instantly break line.
Yeah, so I really like this play. If you can tell here,
such a nice streak on such a chaotic map. Now
he's wide peeking this, but he knows he has cover on his left.
Now,
And
at this point,
he's
you
gonna
can
cut
see
the
I'm
angle.
hard scoping.
What I mean by cut the angle, right, is there's not much room for someone to see him, right? And this is really important for like higher tiers of play, where normally you'd want to have this angle a little bit smaller, about like right here or whatever. If you're gonna get double peeked, someone's gonna peek close, and then someone's gonna peek wide behind them. And to have call it a pixel peek, where it's hard to pick up information and it's harder to get double peeked. So he's doing this, right? He doesn't really explain it. And then also he goes into that he doesn't count on hitting the headshots. He makes a precautionary, automatically switches to his primary. And I think this is a good point. I think this is really good to make this a habit. It's a very safe way of playing. There's a couple things I want to talk about here. I just don't really know how to articulate it really. It allows you to take your reaction time out of the equation just by automatically switching to your primary instead of like, oh, did I hit the headshot or whatever. I think most of the time, again, it's a very safe play. I think once you get a little bit better, you can start to understand when you should, when you shouldn't. But again, I highly recommend you make it a habit.
Open this because I know there's someone coming around the corner. I take the shot, but even though it's a headshot, you'll notice that I instantly break line of sight and swap to my primary. Take the shot, break line of sight, swap to the primary. That's because I'm never banking on it being a headshot.
I think
even if it looks like
advice.
a headshot and I'm pretty sure it's going to be a headshot,
Works there.
I'm always going to try,
Right,
if I can, break line of
If you added your reaction time there, like, oh, did I hit the headshot? Oh, I thought I hit the headshot there. And then you're going to switch to your primary. He could have died.
sight. But then I'm almost always going to swap to the hand cannon right after. You can see that after.
And, like you said, almost always. I think, yeah, I agree with them. I think you should almost always switch to your primary. Again, it's just safe.
Primary. That's
I like
because
this
I'm
play
in
right
this
here.
rhythm. Always swapping to the
You
primary
see
weapon.
someone's like peeking it. He slides underneath, kind of body blocks him. You might argue that he's taking this dude's kill, but in high competitive play, that doesn't matter. What matters is getting the kill. And, he slides in, body blocks him, and cleans up the kill. True Vanguard has full health. You could tell the Titan behind him is somewhat weak. So no matter what, he's getting a trade. And best case scenario, he gets the kill and body blocks, and his teammate doesn't die.
Shot. In my opinion, when I pulled this trigger, this man should go down. And in fact, in the moment, I
Yeah,
was
I
pretty
don't argue
certain
with
that
you.
man was going to die as soon as I pulled the trigger. But guess what? Like I said earlier, I didn't bank on it. I switched to the primary. I jumped to evade just in case this does not connect.
I think it's always important to not bank on you hitting the headshot. I think what he failed to explain is his evading, which I think is very important. And the reason why he jumps here, he knows he's going up against a shotgun. Just like with his primary, he doesn't reactionary jump. He jumps right after he shoots the sniper, even if he hits the headshot or not. The reason why he jumps, I think this is important info because jumping here will move his hitbox the most efficient and quickest away from the enemy's crosshair.
I'm always playing as if the shot will not connect, and sure enough, it counted it as a body shot. So I jumped over his head, pulled a 180, and I slapped him in his stupid face.
Yeah, again, but the reason that you jumped is because at the moment it was the most efficient way to get your hitbox away from the enemy's crosshair. And in some situations, jumping is not the most efficient.
And that's what you get for being an ape. Thank you very much, Streaks. Things that I think are worth.
So what I like there, he's not wide peeking. He lines up pretty much the door angle with the pillar angle. So going back to my other statement and earlier in the video, when there's two angles to peek, there's pretty much a 50-50 chance of where they're going to be. And then plus also they can slide, they can crouch peek on both sides. So if you just limit that to one, it's harder to kind of play around.
Noting.
And yeah, there is counterplay to peeking two angles like behind a pillar. You could just kind of hold one angle, but then there is a disadvantage because you can't see the other side. They can come all the way around, get really close to you, and quick peek you, right?
A few mechanics in these streaks and in these clips that are worth paying attention to. One of them being the switching to the primary after taking the shot. That's a big deal. One of them being waiting for the barrel to come up, waiting for your reticle to recenter itself after you do a jump of any kind, right?
Well, sometimes you have enough time to take a more or less risky shot, but sometimes you don't. And deciphering when to take a risky shot, when not to, deciphers what's a good player and what's not. And sometimes you have to take the risky shot and it doesn't pay out, right? Happens to everyone. You just got unlucky.